everybody. On this episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers, we talk about teachers that left teaching to chase the dream and then maybe decided to go back. Also, there's a teacher that called out because she was sick and wound up at a concert. How did that happen? And lastly, we're going to talk about ideal parents, engaged parents as well, but you're going to want to stick around for the ideal parents. Crying in My Car starts now. Hey everybody, Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. Thank you for tuning in. I am the host, Devin, Siebold, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Mr. James Yan. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully we're helping you laugh off the stress of the teacher work week. I know that we're back into the swing of things, and kind of sprinting towards the spring break now, and you kind of want to almost hurdle it like an Olympic sprinter and land in summer break, but we're taking it easy, and we're here to hopefully provide a little bit of laughter, a little bit of sanity for the work day. And if you're looking for laughter and sanity, you can also find that on the Board Teachers Comedy Tour. I am on the Board Teachers Comedy Tour. I'm going around the country. Now, I wanted to start off today talking about an interesting teaching subject that I had not thought about until I was doing the Teachers in the News and I came across an article. Okay. As I tour doing the comedy and speaking to teachers, there's a lot of teachers that are burnt out and they want out. They want out. They're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And it used to be like kind of a taboo thing to talk about, but now a lot of them talk about it.
Yes.
And they'll come up to me and they'll go, they literally will go, listen, I have 4 jokes. Are you hiring? I want out of this.
Now.
And they're like, I don't know if I'm funny. I just know that I don't want to do this anymore. And you can see the desperation on their face. And I totally get that.
Got it.
There's a lot of teachers that message me and they go, I've left and I'm thriving. I started my own business. I'm an entrepreneur now. I went to work for my dad, and I'm enjoying life a lot more, less stress. And I get so many success messages. And it makes me happy. I'm like, great. You found your calling. Obviously, you didn't want to be a teacher anymore, and you found something that makes you happy. You're able to make a living at it. Then I read an article, and there was a gentleman on Business Insider who left teaching to become a journalist.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, got the same vibe when I was reading like the first 8 paragraphs was I left teaching. Teaching was stressing me out. I loved the kids. I wanted to stay for the kids. It was the adults, the politics. I'm telling you, this is a copy paste,
of everything you've heard.
Hear it so much.
There it is.
And can relate. This is the thing. About halfway through, it started to go a different direction. He said, then journalism started to dry up. And the gigs were no longer there. AI started to take over because he was writing for blogs, essentially. Well, now they can just say, do a pitch for, this and that. Yeah. And it's generated. And he said, you know what? I am starting to think it was a bad idea to leave teaching.
Really?
And this was the first time that I'd seen a regret. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have. And the interesting thing is something that he talked about that a lot of teachers don't really understand until they get to that point, myself included. Right now, I don't have, and he started saying this too, he goes, I've worked the past 10 years as a journalist. I'm not vested in the school retirement fund anymore.
No.
I don't have this health insurance that I once had anymore. I don't have the perks of the system behind me and the security behind being in a union, and all this other stuff. And he said, and I regret it now. He said, I often wonder why didn't I just stick it out and find a better way to cope with it and do do better. I don't know if not do better is not what I'm trying to get at, but just go for it and just go, you know what? I became a teacher. I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to stick with it. And he said that he regrets not sticking with it.
Okay, I understand him. And I'm kind of understand where he's coming from. But here's the thing. Mm-hmm. I've learned over my long life that I have lived, because I'm old now, Devin, stress. If you continue to get untreated stress every single time you go to work, it's going to have a negative effect on your body,
right?
Your health. It truly does.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's thinking financially or security and job, I should have stayed. He would have burnt out. He would have just burnt out, and he would have left not on, let's say, good terms or in cuffs.
Yeah.
At some point,
yeah.
man.
I mean, I had more health problems, and I was in.
We talked about it.
I was in better physical shape.
Yes.
I was in better, but mentally I was being
Absolutely.
destroyed, and it was so much stress. Mm-hmm. And the stress for sure. Yeah, it's kind of an inside joke, but like you go, the only reason I'm in this job for the health insurance, but the only reason that I need the health insurance is the job.
The job, yeah.
And so, I get where what you're saying, but then I also wanted to kind of acknowledge there's a lot of teachers out there that jump ship and then go back to the ship. And I've seen them. Even when I was teaching, I saw people leave and go,
yeah,
I'm done. And then 3 years later, they're like, hey.
Well, let me ask you that. The people that did come back and they're like, hey, were they better coming back?
I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know them as well personally.
Gotcha.
But I just want to say that there's no shame in going back to the job.
Okay.
Like this guy, he regretted it, and he ended up thinking that he's going to probably go back.
Okay.
But he's like, now I've got to work longer to get the same retirement benefits that if I would have just stayed, I would have been 5 years from a retirement option. And I even look at that sometimes for myself, because I enjoy what I do. I love this. I love doing comedy, but we don't have a union.
We do not.
We do not have, my job is based upon demand of people wanting to see me.
Correct.
And you know what? Sometimes there's a shelf life. I can speak from experience. One of the biggest fears, especially as a comedian, is like I go into these clubs and I see photos on the wall and I recognize about 20% of them. Mm-hmm. And I go, man, 80% that no longer can, we know we don't sell, they don't sell a ticket.
Correct.
And it's just like, what happens when I get there? I need retirement options. I don't have, a pension. I don't have a union backing me up saying, keep the job. I don't have somebody going, yeah, come back and work anytime.
You don't.
I let my certification expire too. So then I got to get recertified.
Gotcha.
And, I don't know. Doubt sometimes creeps in. So I'm here to say the doubt is okay.
Yeah.
The regret is okay. You can go back. If you did leave, you can go back. Kudos to the people that find success for the rest of their life.
Yes.
But there's a lot that don't. And I don't get those messages of I wouldn't even call it a failure. I don't get those messages of the setbacks,
Yeah.
I don't get those. People don't message me and go, I left teaching and I was so much happier. And now I'm broke again and I'm depressed and my wife left me and I want to know, they're not going to message me that.
No.
So, just shout out to you guys that are trying and maybe not succeeding right away. And maybe you have to go back to the classroom for a little bit.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Spin the block.
It happens, and hopefully you find some solace in this. Business Insider left teaching to become a journalist. Found out it was a bad idea. Just Google something along those lines. You'll find that article, and hopefully it'll help guide you a little bit.
I would love for them to write into our social media, into the show. Tell us if you've actually left teaching, found out, I'm not so happy as I thought I was going to be, and I went back. Because I would love to hear that. Because there might be success stories in that. Like, no, teaching was my passion.
Yep.
I've learned to deal with the stress and the things that come with that. So I know that I should be doing that.
Yeah, sometimes the hours and things are really good.
When you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, morning and it's nice to have, especially, you could have been, I was a single guy when I was teaching for so long, and then I had kids. And man, teaching was catering to that kid schedule.
That's correct.
And so sometimes you have kids later in life and you're like, man, this would have been really good with my teaching schedule. And you have to go back. I know a lot of teachers that teach specifically because it lines with their teaching, their kid schedule. Yeah.
And I figured out retirement as a comedian, by the way.
What's up?
2 words. Lottery tickets.
Yes.
Yeah.
I buy. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right, James.
Mm-hmm.
You ready for the teachers in the news, my friend?
I am, my friend.
There is an interesting story out of New York City that is not rubbing people too well.
Okay.
Yeah, and in New York City, rubbing people, that's a subway. That's a subway.
That's what they call it. Yeah.
Anyways, the New York DOE is angering some people because it is desperate to fire a special education teacher, and they even attempted to override his do not fire 2 days before Christmas. And you're like, what heinous
What
act
did he do?
could have this person have done? Well, James, he taught for 27 years special education. He taught students with autism.
Okay.
And developed, as a result of teaching and working himself to death, severe arthritis and scoliosis as a result of his time in the classroom, and can no longer physically move around the class. And so they want to fire him 2 days before Christmas.
That's horrific, first off.
That
come on. Have a heart, New York, which I know you don't. But yeah.
He even asked to be moved to maybe the attendance office, and it turns out on his record, they put a problem code, and the district would not elaborate why he's labeled as a problem, so he cannot move to a different position. This man has devoted 27 years of his life to the children, to the service of being a teacher for special education. And they wanted to fire him 2 days before Christmas. Now, the district did not respond for comment. It turns out they were too busy being visited by 3 ghosts.
Who is in charge? Ebenezer Scrooge.
Apparently. It's just, what are you doing? Come on. I mean, I just hope this story gets more traction, because
So do I.
luckily the news is there.
Yeah.
Sometimes these stories get swept under the rug, and this gentleman might have, been out on the streets, but 27 years, the guy's, and developing the ailments because of his dedication to the job, and then you want to fire him for it? Unbelievable.
That's not how you repay someone's hard work.
God
bless him.
All right. On to an interesting story out of Nashville. There was a teacher that was fired after calling in sick. They called in sick for 2 days straight.
How dare they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out they weren't sick.
Oh.
They were at a concert in Nashville. And so the district fired her. Now, interestingly enough, she's suing to get her job back. Okay. And the reason she's suing to get her job back,
I can't wait to hear this,
is a doctor actually signed off saying she couldn't work for those 2 days. Doctor didn't say she couldn't go to a concert.
Technically, she's right.
Yeah. Now, there was some side effects, I guess, from medication the doctor was worried about, and said, you know what, stay home. Mm-hmm. And so there was a medical doctor that approved. Now, what you do in your time while you're sick is another thing.
Yeah, that's debatable, right?
Yeah. I mean, was this intentionally done? Did she visit the doctor to get that excuse, knowing she was going to the concert?
You can't prove that.
But even if she did, the guidelines say you just got to have a doctor's note.
That's it?
If you got the doctor's note, then I think it's case shut. It's...
And who among us has not had a doctor prescribe 2 tickets to see Jelly Roll?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Who has not?
I mean, to be honest, think about this. If it were a Kid Rock concert, she could have claimed mental illness. She could have... That's wild. To be honest, she just needs to lean into it.
Yeah.
She said the doctor told me I'd experienced some side effects. I blacked out. I woke up with cramps, a headache at a Creed concert. It happens.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen that at the end of the Wegovy commercial. May show up at Nickelback. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Well, how did they find her when she awoke from blacking out? Arms wide
Crowd
open.
surfing.
Yeah.
She was crowd surfing, actually. Medically,
God bless.
Medically speaking, I don't know if you know this, it was an issue with her eyes. She had Blink 182. She was in dire straits. She needed the cure, but the medicine had her Imagine Dragons, and truthfully, we should be grateful she's not dead. Thank you.
The defense rests.
Hire me. I'm
You
on board.
should be hired.
But man, I don't know. Who do you side with?
Her.
Yeah.
I'm always going to try to side with the teachers. You know, I'm biased. But if she did have a doctor's note that said I can't go to work, why can't I go where I want to at that point?
Right.
If he told me not to go to work specifically, then why are you guys angry with me?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't know if you ever called out sick, though. I mean, if you've ever called out sick, I've called out sick. Mm-hmm. Dude, I get worried going to the grocery store. Yeah. I'm like, what if a coworker sees me?
Yeah, exactly.
And I look fine.
And
I'm at the grocery store.
Yes.
You know, she just went to a concert. But that's the thing. Can we dictate what people do on their sick days if they have an actual doctor's note? I don't think we can.
I don't think you can. Legally, I don't think you can.
Yeah.
And I have called in sick, Devin, but it was for the wrong job. Being a parent.
Yeah.
I've tried. It didn't work.
Not at all. You also wound up at a concert.
I did.
You were like, I can't find me here.
Regulators.
Yeah.
Round up.
All right. In Newsweek, there is an interesting teacher prediction. An ex-teacher said that the internet access, unfettered internet access, is going to ruin our children. Interestingly enough, This teacher made an observation, and I don't know if other teachers can relate to it. Love to hear in the comments. This teacher said there are two types of children in class. Okay. There are kids that have their social media monitored by their parents. They have strict screen time, guidelines, only an hour. You can't have the cell phone in school. You can only have it for these purposes. And then there are the kids that just have open access. They have a cell phone. They have all their social media accounts. They are, whatever you want. You're in your room. Go for it.
Whatever you're looking at.
Yeah, TikTok, Snapchat. Oh, that's a new game. That's a new app. That's cool. This particular teacher said, look, there's two types of kids. Those two types.
Yes.
And the kids that have the restricted access have better attention span. They get better grades. They are much more social in class. They're able to talk to people. And I mean, he's saying, look, we got to pull back a little bit. You don't have to cut them off entirely, but there's two types of people. And honestly, I didn't have cell phones like when I was in school.
No, we didn't have that.
But if I did, I'm introverted as all get out. I would have been in the corner with my cell phone.
You would have.
I don't think I ever would have done the work. I wouldn't have gone to college. I wouldn't have succeeded. I wouldn't have definitely been at basketball practice. Why be at basketball practice when I can be on the phone and
I can look at a TikTok of someone playing basketball. Yeah, you don't have to actually do it.
Get into an argument with somebody about Jordan or LeBron. You know, and
I agree. Yeah. I'm going to be that person, that old guy. Yes, I agree. Here's why I know that. I see so many kids on social media all day, and I'm guilty of it myself. But here's the thing. I have social skills because we were taught that when I was younger. Now you don't have to. Everything's done online. And one example I can give you of how kids don't have is develop social skills they should nowadays. My wife works at a doctor's office, right? There are kids that are 18, 19, and 20 years old who still have their parent come in with them to do all the talking because they don't want to talk to the receptionist and say what's wrong. Mm-hmm. That's not okay. Mm-hmm. Your child needs to learn how to be on their own, to do their own thing, to be self-sufficient. And social media is a hindrance of that. So I've even had to make myself do it less. Yeah. Like put the phone down. When you're eating dinner with your family, put your phone down. When you're spending quality time with a loved one or a friend, put your phone down. I would wholeheartedly agree with this woman that's going...
Gentlemen,
I'm sorry. That, social media is killing our kids, man.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's tempting. I know. I want to look at my phone right now.
And here in Florida, we're banning it for kids.
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
I'm interested to see how that works.
But I will say the two types of parents, absolutely right, because there are parents that will just give the kid a phone, here you go, and then they're off with it. But there are so many programs now, even social media apps, where you can set it up for your teen.
Yeah.
So they're not looking at things that you might find inappropriate or some things that are just going to distract them all the time.
When I grew up, there were a different version of this, and I don't know if other teachers can relate to this, but when I grew up, there was a different version of this, and there were three types of kids, and I can remember them.
Okay.
There were the kids that that I knew where you would go over to stay at their house and you'd be like, your mom lets you do anything.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. What do you mean? We can stay up till 1 a.m.?
What?
Oh, she lets you have a sip of alcohol? You know, like, oh my gosh, oh wow.
You can eat snacks in your room?
Yeah, what is
This
going
is crazy.
on? There was like the least involved parents. Yep. Then there was the middle ground parents. That's kind of where I was at, where they were like, yeah, go over there, have fun, do what you want to do. Also, we need you back here by 11. You have basketball practice in the morning. We have to get you up at this time. You know, and there was guidance and structure.
Yes.
And then on the opposite end of that was the overly structured. You do exactly what we say at all times. You call us every 30 minutes. You let us.
Yes.
And I will say the middle ground parents definitely had the best kids.
I will say that.
The ones that had no structure, those kids went, I think, a little too wide open.
Yes.
They were the free range children.
Yes.
And they just didn't get it together.
Those were the kids that call their parents by their first name.
Yeah.
When they were upset.
Yeah. And then there are the other ones. I think the overly restrictive were the caged animals that as soon as you let them out, not only did what they wanted to do,
correct,
but went beyond that
to the extreme
and did the bad stuff that they could never do. They were like, not only am I free now, but I'm also going to steal a car.
Yeah.
You know,
because I've never had a taste of freedom.
There's a little bit of it. Yeah. The little bit of freedom turns into a big like grab.
So with anything in life, moderation. Even when it comes to parenting.
Exactly. I agree. All right, James, you have something that you'd like to end us on. Talking about engaged parents.
I will. And I see you making the face already. As a teacher, I know you experienced.
I've never heard this.
Okay.
He said, I'm going to do something on engaged parents. I said, come again?
Come again. What is that exactly?
Engaged parents. That's, I don't know if.
It's like speaking another language. Yes, there you go. Now, here's something I think we both can agree on, Devin, besides the fact that I'm a snazzy dresser and I look like Denzel Washington. Yes, we often say that.
I mean, we know that.
We know that.
People, this #1 YouTube comment.
They're
much. Like, is that Denzel? I'm like, yeah. Well.
And I turn my head, they're like, nah, that ain't him. But here's the thing. I always preach to parents that if you want to have a successful student and you want to be a part of their education process, we got to be involved, right? I think we both can agree.
Sure.
Involvement is good.
Yes.
But today I'm going to challenge parents to take it a step further. Let's go beyond involvement and let's engage.
Engage.
There you go. All right. Now, let me give you the difference.
A little start. Engage.
Engage, yes. Just like that. Mm-hmm. Now, involvement takes part in activities already determined by school. That's what a parent can be involved in. Meaning if the kids, if your school sets up some kind of school trip or some kind of school dance or whatnot, and you going there, that's involvement.
Okay. So involved parent is part of the activities.
Yes.
Okay.
An engaged parent takes a step further, and they're part of the decision making and planning and executing of the actual activity.
Plan the activity.
Yes, plan the activity.
Well,
yes.
as a teacher, I have the ideal parent. You have the involved.
The involved.
The engaged.
Yes.
I have the ideal.
Gotcha.
So an involved
Why
parent.
do I already regret this? Before we start.
An involved parent, you said, is part of the activities.
Yes.
An engaged parent plans the activities.
Yes, they do.
An ideal parent, that activity is an open bar teacher appreciation. That is the ideal parent.
Open bar.
Yeah, open bar teacher appreciation. And that's the ideal parent. That's what we want to see more in school.
Gotcha. I did not. I want to want this to be this. Okay.
Okay, that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
Keep describing.
All right, let me give you some examples of involved versus engagement. Okay. Here's the first one. Okay. An involved parent, you might attend or volunteer at a school function like a dance, right?
A
dance, yeah. But an engaged parent will not only volunteer, but they'll be a part of the committee that plans it, fundraises for it, and they'll actually be there working the event with the children.
Okay.
That's involvement versus engagement.
An ideal parent drops back that ass up right in the middle of the dance, just one time for the teachers, just to give us a little bit of, bring us some life. It's thinking outside the box.
Okay. All right. Let me try this one more time.
Okay.
Involvement. You actually attend your child's band recital or performance.
Oh.
That's involved.
Okay.
But engagement takes it a step further. Not only do you attend their recitals and their concerts, but you join the band boosters and you become a part of raising funds so these kids can buy band uniforms and they can travel with the band.
Interesting.
Yes.
An ideal parent petitions the federal government to have hot cross buns on the recorder banned nationwide. I think that's a very good
That's
compromise.
what you think we need?
Yeah.
No more hot cross buns. Okay.
I don't want to go to another band recital and hear. I don't know.
No, you're done with that.
We're done. It's over. Moving on.
I will say this in closing, Devin. Parents deserve a special kind of award for sitting through their kids' first recital.
Right.
It's not for the faint of heart. It's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you sit there and you're like, couldn't we have done this in March when it's just a little more improved?
Dad, how was I? Amazing.
Yeah, so good.
Amazing.
So good.
Yes. So, closing.
No. You got more involved,
I
right?
do. I forgot. Almost forgot.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir. I almost forgot.
It's all right. I'll guide you.
Okay, some more examples of involved versus engaged parents. Okay, involved parent might work the car line.
Okay.
But an engaged parent may be helping notify other parents of proper car line procedures and creating signs.
Okay. An ideal parent convinces every child to ride the bus. No car line. That's the ideal parent. I'm telling you. You want volunteer of the year. Make it happen.
Okay, one more. Okay. An involved parent, they get to know the principal. But an engaged parent, they work with them to create a better environment for the teachers.
Right.
Yeah.
An ideal parent learns the habits of the admin, befriends them, gets close enough for a home invite, and then slashes their tires before an in-service day. I'm telling you, ideal parents go the extra mile.
Got it.
So, anyways, that's a lesson for you. Parenting 101.
So parents, in closing, it's great to be involved, but it's even better to be engaged.
Right. Also, I would like a disclaimer. Please do not call Child Protective Services on me or my children. I do not plan to do any of these things. This is not how I live my life.
No, you don't have to do any of that because I already have.
Yes, several times. I open the door, the police are there. I'm like, James.
You're welcome. All right.
James, how can people find you online, my friend?
As always, the same way you guys can look me up at James Yan Comedian on Instagram and Facebook and now TikTok.
TikTok. Oh,
Yes.
nice. So
Yes.
we're on TikTok for it. Right as it
TikTok.
got banned, you're like, let me join.
You know what? Sinking ship, I'm jumping on.
Also, devincomedy.com for upcoming tour dates, teachersneedlaughter.com if you want me to speak in your schools. I can also bring James along with me, and hopefully we'll see you out on the tour, the Board Teachers Comedy Tour. You can check that out, boardteachers.com. Just click on the comedy tour info, and I'll be at most of the dates. If you hear it read on this show, I'm there. So I do appreciate you guys following, liking, subscribing, share this show, and we'll be back next week. Oh, don't forget, patreon.com/cryinginmycar.
Yeah.
It's been updated. A whole bunch of new rewards over there and a new community we're building. So check that out as well. And we'll see you next week here on Crying in My Car, podcast for teachers.